Curiouser and curiouser. It looks like the coverage on this channel has touched a nerve with the mainstream media. Check this out from the Daily Mail. Paramount bosses are set to drop a completed JonBenet Ramsey drama over fears that they could be sued over its contents, insiders say. Unspeakable, the murder of JonBenet Ramsey stars A-listers Melissa McCarthy and Clive Owen. They appear as the murdered 6-year-old pageant queen's parents, Patsy and John. It has already been filmed, but may never see the light of day. The show was greenlit by Paramount in September 2024, and according to their own documentation on Paramount Plus, it was actually the first episode was due to be released in October this year. And October, of course, has just come and gone. So what is happening?
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science. So there is some controversy and some difficulty obviously in behind the scenes in terms of this limited series coming from Paramount Plus. Now the interesting thing is it hasn't been removed from the Paramount website. You would think that if it was totally canned and it was a fait accompli basically, that it would be removed. Now, the show, as I said, was greenlit by Paramount in September 2024, but since then, and even since completing the filming of it, it's become a point of concern for the streamer's lawyers, and that is according to the industry insider Matthew Baloney in his newsletter. It's called Puck. Baloney said that he has heard that Paramount lawyers are super nervous about the show, which dramatizes the shocking case of JonBenet's murder back in 1996. Further details on what plot lines are causing concern have not been shared. Now, what I think also gives fuel to this apparent nervousness is if you look on the Paramount website and you see the cast that has been identified. You see Melissa McCarthy as Patsy, Clive Owen as John. You've got Shea Wigman as Alex Hunter, Will Patton as Lou Smith, Garrett Hedlund, we spoke about him in the previous episode, playing Detective Steve Thomas, Alison Pill as Detective Linda Arendt, Emily Mitchell as JonBenet, Owen Teague as the reporter Jeff Shapiro, Clifton Collins as Detective Trujillo, and Chris Bauer as Tom Kobe. Is there anyone we're missing in that list? And I think that is where the controversy lies, is what can they depict in terms of Burke Ramsey without getting into legal trouble. Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Bear in mind a polished TCRS website has just gone online. If you haven't gone there, visit www.truecrimerocketscience.com and have a look at the work that's kind of been going on behind the scenes. I do think it's quite interesting. Also, if you want to get in touch, use the tools right at the bottom there. Also, a very big thank you to Frank David 1312. He says, greetings from Scandinavia. Thank you for the gift of high quality. Yes, continue. Yes, the sequel. And that's a reference to the whole question around rehabilitation in terms of the Long Island serial killer. Thanks very much, Frank, for that. Are you finding this analysis worthwhile? Please do hit the thanks button. Please also leave a comment just in terms of what you think about the new improved website. And let's get started. Now, they are certainly right to be super nervous. Look at what happened to the CBS show. The only mystery is how the show got off the ground to begin with. Ignorance is bliss, I suppose, and I guess the ignorance part was not knowing how some of the evidence could be interpreted in different ways, especially if you were relatively new to the case. And of course, once you got into the production, then some of these niggly little pieces come up. And the more time that you spend with it, the more it can be interpreted, shall we say, in one way compared to another. But let's have a look at an excerpt from that Puck newsletter authored by Matthew Baloney. And he writes, there's currently a behind-the-scenes issue over Unspeakable, The Murder of JonBenet Ramsey, a non-Sheridan limited series starring Melissa McCarthy that 101 Studios is producing for Paramount+. According to sources, Paramount lawyers are super nervous about the already shot show, which dramatizes the mysterious murder of the 6-year-old beauty queen back in 1996, especially, and yeah, it's even mentioned here, especially since CBS was forced to write a big check in 2019 to settle a $750 million defamation lawsuit brought by who? JonBenet's brother, Burke Ramsey, over the contents of a JonBenet docu-series. And so who is missing from the casting? Now, it's not clear whether that person who's missing has withdrawn or whether they've asked him to basically not be part of the production. It's not clear what actually happened. A full legal review is now pending, so it looks like their own lawyers are reviewing the whole thing. It does make one wonder, has this been handed over to any of the Ramseys to get them to sign off? But he concludes by saying there's a strong chance Paramount Plus will scrap the show and let Glasser sell it elsewhere. Paramount and 101 declined to comment on this. Now, I can't comment on how strong the chance is that Paramount will scrap the show, but I do think it is interesting that they've still got the show online, which seems to indicate that that there's some ambivalence on their side. Certainly they are more in than not in at this point. And bear in mind, we're only 1 month past their own self-imposed deadline for when the show is going to go live. And so I still think it could see the light of day despite what the Daily Mail have written. The Daily Mail go on to note that the fallout of the unreleased JonBenet Ramsey show has also been fueled by Paramount's split with popular showrunner Taylor Sheridan. Sheridan, best known as the creator of Yellowstone, is set to leave Paramount in January 2029, and his slow divorce has seen bosses look to potentially scale back his shows and collaborations, that's according to Baloney. Although Sheridan is not involved in the JonBenet series, the showrunner's frequent collaborator 101 Studios is helming the show, reportedly adding extra friction to the decision to release or scrap it. The drama could still end up seeing the light of day if Paramount decides to let 101 Studios shop it around to other broadcasters. And I think that is very, very likely. I also think, given the time, the milestone that we're sort of facing, it's 29 years this year and it'll be 30 years next year. I think there's going to be quite a lot of interest in something, in putting something out there. But according to the Daily Mail, the air of legal peril now surrounding the show could make it a tough sell. Well, whatever happens, as I say, next year is the 30th anniversary of the Ramsey case, and it's sort of inevitable that something big is going to happen in such a milestone here. Don't you think? I guess we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Well, I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.